Have you seen the great new Cutlass line? Well, one's just right for you. They're built for comfort, built with style, as only Olds can do. Take the famous Cutlass Supreme. It looks so fine, it rides like a dream. Beauty and practicality, the most popular Cutlass in history.
Well, hello again, guys, and thank you so much for coming back and joining me. We are back here with the old Silver Beauty, the 1977 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, and I just decided to take a couple of hours this afternoon, even though it's a weekday. We have got to get this thing off the trailer, get the trailer free if they need it, and get this car back on all four paws, you know, and being self-reliant is a good thing, right? So we are just going to dive right in and try to get some of these things done. I think I'm going to start with the gas tank and then move to brakes and then move to trim, see if she still runs, and off we go. So let's take a look at what we got. Let's get to work. Now, I knew my best results for a quick turnaround on parts would be Summit Racing. They just do an excellent job of shipping stuff out, and usually most of the stuff that comes to me that I order here in Kansas comes to me from Texas. So it only takes a day or two, and I've got parts. So I went to their website. Sure enough, I found tank, ascending unit, and rear brake shoes. They are on their way, should be here in a day or two. Meanwhile, I carped the diem and I pulled off the bottom, well, the whole door panel, but this is just the bottom half. It comes off in sections like they were wont to do in the 70s and 80s a lot of times, at least GM. Got an interesting fade pattern going on in there. Now this guy that owned this place, he had quite a selection of blues and grays in vinyl and carpet paint dye products. And unfortunately, those good old interior colors, they just aren't that prevalent anymore. If you want something kind of special like this, in other words, not beige or gray, you know, you kind of have to go to your specialty parts houses that cater to these vehicles and get it through them, or have a paint shop mix it up for you, or whatever you can do. However, this guy did have quite a selection of products, and I had a few to choose from, and I sprayed them all out on a sheet of paper. And I don't know, this old school Auto Magic in light blue did the deal. It was the closest that we had, and it was a pretty good match, actually. So I'll show you what the first one looks like here. So there's our door panel, before and after. Looking pretty spiffy, don't you think? And then here's our A-pillar trim, before and after. You can see it's pretty close match. I think it'll work out just fine. So I'm going to go ahead, clean this one up, mask off the carpet, and get that going. And I guess I'll paint all the rest of the trim too while we're at it. Might as well, huh? Okay. Alright, so originally I had made put in an order with Summit Racing because I thought they had everything that I needed. I bought the brake shoes through them, I bought the fuel tank through them, and I bought what was supposed to be the sending unit through them. Well, I got a sending unit, all right, but it was not at all the correct one. And I don't even have what I got here today. What I got from them. Let me get my O-ring and lock ring here. Got two of them. But what I received from Summit, this top plate was like half this size. Oldsmobile wasn't at all, apparently not like Chevy, at least, well, I mean, maybe by the late 70s, Chevy was like this too, but things like AC and a four-door mattered what sending unit you got. Why, right? Anyway, I took a chance on another company I found, and thankfully it ended up being a match. They called it a 5/16, a two-line 5/16 in the description, and I was just crossing my fingers that it would match what I needed, and it does. So I would call that 3/8 personally, the main line. But anyway, let's get this installed. All right, I am pleased our fuel tank, however, ended up being right. Why one would cross-check with the make and model and sub-model and everything, but not with the other part, I don't know. Whatever, we're getting it. Use a little slickum here. Little silicone spray. Get our sock. Unfurl the sock, right? It's like a flag unfurling. Okay. That's going to go that direction. Not the nicest fitting lock ring I've ever seen in my life, but it'll do. Alright, let's just prep this dude. Huh. We had shoes on the table and food on our feet. Something like that. So you gotta tighten up sometime, huh, son? Sure. Now, what am I gonna get you doing, huh? Gotta go up in there. Well, how do you go on there? I need to add 6 inches to my belly to hold this thing on. See how this flange is bent almost straight up, front and back? I don't think you can tell, but the new one doesn't do that. It's going at an angle, and that's preventing everything from going into place there with the straps. So a guy's going to have to finish the work they started, kind of thing. Tank is in. I'll show you that in a second. But first of all, I am going to scoot back under there and put the rear soft line back in for the brakes. There's really no point in trying to show you guys till it's all said and done. I just need to work up the gumption to do it. Okay. Alright, I got everything down in the torture chamber done. One thing I want to show you up here is they put a little too much bend on the old snout, the old snorkel here, so getting the gas cap on and off a bit more of a pain than it once was. So I'm gonna have to get up under there with a 2x4 or something and get that to angle down, hopefully without destroying the sidewall of the tank. But we're gonna sneak under here. I got my wires connected. In fact, there's a ground wire. Okay, see, keep scooting. Oh, you can see the straps. Hopefully you understand why I didn't bring you along for the ride down here. All right, so up there, I can't, if I can get my forearm past the drive shaft here. There we go. Okay. Fuel lines connected, going through their little bracket. And then our rear soft line for the brakes comes to this cross member here. And then to the top of the differential where it splits off to each wheel. So that is all buttoned up. I'm going to clean these. Good grief, what's going on? I'm going to clean these tools up and we'll move on to rear brakes, I guess. So a guy made it a point to remember to bring a can of brake clean. Pretty much a guarantee that he is going to forget, you know, and true to form I did. Anyway, these guys must have picked one up, so I don't really want to use a lot of it. Just kind of hose her down real quick. Strip down, pretty much replacing everything. Not you. Not you. Maybe not you. Pins. Alright, figure out what size that is. My parking brake off here. See if I can find a wire brush or something. Get this all cleaned up. You hear that? Right when I got the brake line off the back of the wheel cylinder, the air compressor system bled off air. I was like, holy cow, what kind of pressure is in this thing? Anyway, I guess you would have had to been there to see it, you know. Oh, but seriously, folks, I've been really pleased. I guess that's the difference of this car being in the garage and the shed all these years. Brake lines, they have all just come off. Well, don't throw the bolt away, smart guy. Yeah, I've just had no trouble at all with brake lines coming on down and so forth. That looks correct. Still need to clean that. I'm going to more or less just gloss over this process. You know, recently I did it on 81 El Camino. That'd be very much the same. You can watch that. I did it on 66 Chevy C20. What else have we done it on? 48 Chevy. Be a little different, you know, but roughly the same. So, if you wanna watch, every time. So I think, generally speaking, you know, my problem with forgetting to put this this little plate on, this little guide plate, you see I'm already ahead of myself there again. But my tendency on these drum brakes is I always do the rear first, especially on when it's on rear brakes. I get the parking brake assembly all set, and then I want to use a spring to hold everything in place before I move on, do the bottom end with that spring, and get the front all set, you know. And so my tendency is to use that to hold it all. And so when I start and I put that in, well, then I naturally want to go to the actual spring, get that set, you know, and move on. And before I know it, I'm done, except for the plate. So I think that's what's going on. I'll get that adjusted, and we'll bleed them. Maybe nap time first, I don't know. So last time I was at the big tool store out at Derby, Kansas, you know. That's on the outskirts of your big city, Wichita. Picked up one of these bleeder units. Looks like a blowgun with a goiter. I'm going to give that a shot. As always, starting at the farthest from the master. Alright, one of my old colleagues and cohorts here, you know, a fellow employee, ex-fellow employee, whatever, stopped by and we were catching up on old times, right? Which is important too. Time got away from us and didn't quite get everything done here today. But that's okay. I think what I'm going to do anyway is, in order for me to get this back to the other shop, I don't want two vehicles. I don't want to leave a vehicle here. So tomorrow morning, my wife does the books here every day, kind of thing, part-time. I'll just come with her. I'll get the interior in, we'll put gas in it, we'll get it running, and I will drive it back to the shop. So I'm going to get this down. Sorry about the annoying flap wind sound. But I'm going to get this down and we will see you tomorrow. right, we're gonna transport this old thing back to the other shop. Didn't bother finish installing all of my trim. I need to get some clips and stuff also. I forgot about that. And my brakes need adjustment, but we're just gonna ignore all this for now, right? Looks like my fuel sending unit's working. Got plenty of power. Shut her down. We got some traffic coming. We got to shut her down. Oh yeah, this thing actually gets up and goes. Now a full-size GM, I don't think we could quite get under there, you know? I'd like to try a Clark Griswold, but I just don't think we'd quite fit. Ha! Cruise control's working. Oh yeah. I'm gonna be sort of sorry to see this car go. Definitely a cruiser. Alright, today I want to get to town, get some parts. I've ordered interior trim clips, so those should be on the way, but I need to know what axle seals and the rear cover on the rear axle is. This had, you know, this could be one of several options of Chevy, Pontiac, maybe another one, maybe two Chevy, maybe two Pontiac, I don't know, rear axle options. But the thing drives like a dream. I am impressed how well that carburetor is functioning. Oh, we got some good brown gravy. Yeah. Making me hungry for KFC. Oh, yes, ma'am. Oh. They put a little mustard on those, huh? Oh, gonna throw my shoulder up. Had to give her a good pop with the pry bar, you know, get the bearing out of there. I felt it best you wouldn't watch. It wasn't pretty, you know. No, it was okay. I'd prefer to have a slide hammer here, but don't have one. All right, there's one. If you've never dug into one of these, what you got? You got a retainer plate to keep the whole works in. You've got a seal, you've got a bearing, and you've got an inner retainer to keep it all in place. So in other words, if you have to replace the seal, you have to replace everything. Way to go, right? Now you could perhaps deform that ring and get it off of there, or even press it. I doubt it, but instead we're just gonna why is it always such a long, painful road to get smarts? To gain some smarts, you know? Anyway, I broke the retainer here. I've got my little expanding pliers. You can get that off. Okay. And that, and looks like we need to go a little farther with our inner race. Anyway, you get the idea. Well, alright, it's Saturday. It's one of those days where you just feel like you're getting nothing done. You know, we've kind of had a nice stretch of cool days, and then it's warm in the springtime, and it just kind of sucks the energy right out of you. You ever experience that? Maybe it's just love. I don't know. Anyway, full disclosure. What was on here was a roller bearing, a straight roller bearing, and then the keeper, the lock ring in the groove, was little more than like 18 or 1/8 plate stamped steel ring with a ring formed on the inside of it that snapped into a groove machined on the axle. I have never seen that before. Anyway, it being a straight roller bearing, I got these Timken Set 9s, which comes with the keeper, the lock ring, the retainer, what have you. I didn't even pay attention to the bearings. Slid one on, pressed it on, and only then did I look at the diagram on the greasy instructions in the package there. And these are tapered. And I, of course, 50% chance, I put it on backwards. So I then had to drill out and remove said retainer. You drill a hole, you smack it with a chisel, it breaks it open. You can remove that. I had to remove the bearing, and in doing so, I pretty much mutilated the bearing. You can't get the retainer by itself, of course. Long story short, I had to go back to my parts store and get a third set. Anyway, I've got that on, and it is on correctly now. And I did not forget the seal either. I got the seal on the right way. So I am going to, if I can spot my other retainer plate. Is that back at the other shop? I'll see you in a minute. Alright, we are back. Such a nice day. I mean, like I said, it's warm, but it's nice, you know. Started out in the high 30s, and I don't know, it could be upper 70s, whatever. Anyway, took the four-wheeler, the old early 80s Honda 4Trax 200 SX, you know. Small little four-wheeler by today's standards, maybe not so much back in the 80s. Fun little thing. Someday I want to do like a complete teardown and restoration of the thing, just fix everything that's wrong. I got it when it was so well used, you know, for chasing cattle around central Kansas and so forth. And I changed oil, we got it running, I cleaned mud dauber nests out of the air intake, which is what was keeping it from running. I may have put a battery in it, I don't really remember, and we've just used it and abused it. The kids have loved it. It's easy for the kids to handle. And anyway, I'm still scooting around on that every now and then. Need to get another battery for it. And actually, one of the things we did this morning was lady from church and her husband, they gave us one of those really geeky Chinese scooter motorcycles. You know, they got the underneath. It's like a little tiny moped, and they go decently fast. But from the outside, it's all plastic fairings and compartments, and you know what I'm talking about. I hesitate to call it a motorcycle, but anyway, we got that running. That wasn't running. My oldest wanted to tinker around on that, and we need a battery, we need a valve stem in the rear wheel, and fuel system is just all crudded up, of course. But he got it running. I took it for the maiden voyage, and it died about 300 yards away, so I had to push it all the way back, of course. One of those fun things about a motorcycle. Anyway. Alright, so we have our plate the correct way. The little flange is out. Our seal. This goes into the tube first. So it needs to be on top right now. Our bearing. This is the outer race. You see the line, and it goes under. I'll double check again on my drawing, but I'm pretty sure the line of separation there needs to go out towards the outside. Just double check that before I go any farther. Yeah, can we see that here? So line of separation is above this line from the 6 is right there, and that's towards the flange. So I got that towards the flange. And then I greased up inside of our retainer. It would be prudent to press the bearing on and then press the retainer on, but my press can handle it. Bit of a workout for me, so I just do it all at once. All right. Slide her all down in here. Get that under. The old clicky clack. All right. I love this press. Hydraulic would be, this is another thing that I've dreamt of restoring ever since I got a hold of it, and a guy just uses it too much. He never wants to take it apart, you know. I sure have enjoyed using it. It sat outside for years. I don't know. I bought it from two brothers that farmed together, and it sat outside in their farmyard, and it had been their dad's. They said some piece of junk, you know, that he drug home, and it was all seized up. I got it to turn, and away we go. I will probably fade this in, fade out and fade in from beginning to end, because this takes a little while, especially once our retainer hits the machine part. right, I think that's it. Get our pressure off of here. I need to file that tooth. I think the press outdates the 1977 axle by at least 50 years, you know. And that thing's almost 50 years old itself. I guess that would make the press almost 100, wouldn't it? Well, we'll get these guys installed. Get my beers back in there. Yeah, get my gears back in there. I guess I had a side gear in the case yet. I thought they were both out. Well, at least it's lubricated. Landed right in a bucket of oil. Well, yesterday I got the rear cover back on and got everything buttoned up, drums back on, and me and number 2 son. Now I call him number 1 and number 2 son because was it the Charlie Chan detective series from like the 30s or 40s or whatever? He was like a Chinese Hawaiian detective in the white suit, you know. And I think he referred to his sons. I think he had quite a few of them. He referred to them by their number in the series. So I just always call him number 1 son and number 2 son. Not to their faces, to you know. Anyway. Number 2 son helped me out yesterday afternoon. He was up topside and we bled the brakes old school and got them working really nice. After that, the brake light went out. So I think we are complete there. I'm going to get this thing full, pop the wheels back on so we can move it. Whoa. I really want to get it off the lift. We'll button up the interior. I got to do some door seals, and I want the lift available for that Jeepster over there, and we'll get into that later in a future video. So if you want to see what that's all about, eventually, you might consider subscribing, just saying. Using one of those hand pumps is nice for that gear oil, but a guy is in real danger of becoming a show pony like Schwarzenegger, you know. Well, we're getting down to brass tacks here. We got to get our interior back together, and that's about it. Do some weather stripping that I bought. But I want to re-stick the vapor barrier here. She's kind of let go over the years, you know. So we'll get the dirt cleaned off, re-stick it. What I would really like to do sometime for a gal is to come in and remove all the interior plastic and scuff it all up and repaint it all. But that is not this time. I think I'm getting ahead of myself here. Well, while we wait for that, yeah, I can talk sometimes. I wanted to do the interior trim first anyway. No? Yeah, he'll do, I think. Am I done yet? No, I'm not. Okay, this is the over-the-door trim, and I got on the eBays and I ordered, I think, a 10-pack of these that go in here, and then a kit to give me enough door panel clips, I think, for the entire car. And you see, so there's kind of a rectangular slot in up above the door there in the metal, and this is just what this looks like. There's cut out to go in and then turn and lock in place. And then when you are wanting to remove the things, you get in there with a screwdriver and push the tabs, and then she'll pop out, in theory. So this is the difficult one because you got two overlapping sections here, and they've got to slide into little grooves. So we get our front headliner trim started in there, if possible. There we go. And then we got to snap our A-pillar trim in there. Like that. And then, I'm not sure you can tell, we got two little slots here. Just go in just like that kind of thing. And then we should have a trim hole for a trim screw somewhere right in there. Yeah. That guy right there. Okay, and then this little guy, this end is going to go up inside the one we just put on. Pardon the duct tape. I know you can't see it, but it's very simple. And she's going to just wrap around. Something like that. And then you should have a long trim screw. That might be it. That might be it. No, those are for the handle. I may have to get one. We lose one in the seat. Throw one back here. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so you're going to have two of these with the little flange washer on them down low. I say you, Will. Honestly, how many of you have a 77 Cutlass? I don't know. I sure appreciate you being here along for the ride, even though you don't, you know. But if you got an old, what are these, A-bodies, then you're in similar circumstances. Okay. That and that. All right, well, until I can find, it was on the back seat. there's the pick. Okay, that kind of angle. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right, we give these a little twist and pull. No. Come on now. You are a worthy antagonist, but you will not defeat me. I don't think that has the... No, it did have the... I got the little slice of pie cut out of the head, you know? Just stubborn, I guess. See, one of them deals, I don't know that you can see that. There you go. And some left for a rainy day. All right. Uh-oh. We got a rogue clip. Oh, it broke. Well, that inspires confidence. Now I got 3. Oh. Maybe one was broke off. I'm sure there were only 3 on the other side. I now have 4 screw points here. I'm actually not sure if 2 of these were ever even used. They don't look like it. Anybody comes upon a resource for these side window seals, especially the outside ones, let me know. Be sure to email me directly. I thought I found a place, it was like Chicago Muscle Parts or something on the internet. But when I went to buy it, I ran into problems. They're either in their system or it wasn't operating right now. I don't know. I need to track down a phone number and try to call them. But that was the only resource I was able to find specific 77 Cutlass. They're not fuzzies, you know, they're rubber, but you know what I'm talking about. But if you do know of a resource, let me know. Everything that pops up is for the next year model. So, anyway, I apparently need to get 2 screws, don't know where they went. I'll put this on. And then these had these should have 4 little screws on the inside that grab a metal strip on the back side of the door panel here. And all of that is gone for whatever reason. All of those screws are gone. So I am gonna have to really raid my hardware bins at home and see if I can find some stuff. But I think you're getting the idea here. Now, one of her final requests was that when she would go through a car wash, indeed the water did infiltrate the perimeter, of the car and come down the windows and so forth. So at the very least, we're going to replace the roof rail seals going over the doors. I was able to find those readily enough. I actually got these through Jegs. They had the best price with shipping. I don't even remember if it was free shipping at that point or not, but these are a soft seal unit, soft, not with a T. And this specifically says 73 to 77 Cutlass, Supreme, Ceylon, Brogham, and Regal 2-door hardtops. So should be the right ones. They look like the right ones. There is a turtle dove going plumb crazy outside. I mean, he's excited. Nevertheless, I have the other side done, the roof rail seal. Just wanted to make sure that we were indeed, we had the correct part and we were on the right trail there, and it turned out pretty good. So we got little pins, plastic pins here, and then you just need to overcome the old fit and the old glue going through the channel there. And then on the other side we had a pin and a screw, and it looks like we have the same thing here. This is all very simple. I can't tell though. There we go. We'll just rip her out. How's that? And that's not even the same screw the other side was using. Huh. Well, nevertheless, it worked. Now, really, all I'm going to bother doing is making sure we don't have any big chunks of rubber impeding our progress here in the channel. Looks like we're okay. And this lovely stuff, make the mess. We'll get that going. And we'll go down to where it meets the door here. Get some on there. Wipe our hands off. I also took off the sill plate on the other side, and if you remember from the first video, there was quite a bit of carpet that got torn and pulled out from under there, so I glued that back in. Alright, and we're just gonna start pushing her back in here. One side of the channel is always a tighter, deeper bend on these GMs anyway. And so that's the side I start with. It seems to make sense. You get it in there and then you just go along and work the other other side in. And I would just expect to have to clean up with acetone later, you know. My parts store didn't have black adhesive, which I don't know why that wouldn't be a staple, you know. But anyway, just like interior clips. Okay. Now if we hurry up, we can close the door on it. Is that in there? Well, there you go, guys. We are done with the old Cutlass Supremo, the old 77. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed working on it a little bit. It wasn't too difficult of a project. It just took time to go through everything and figure out what it needed, and away we go. There are a few other things I want to do on it off camera. Wash it, recharge the AC so it's working, and then, surprise, surprise, while we were out trying to get some footage of it driving around, I noticed the brakes weren't acting right, and one of the rear wheel cylinders already went out on us. I love modern parts, don't you? So maybe I'll rebuild one of the originals, maybe I'll just get a different cylinder, I don't know. But this part situation is just intolerable. Someone deserves a good dressing down. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, guys. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one.